live. Happy New Year.
Boom. Happy New Year. First podcast of the year. We beat everybody.
We beat everybody. There's nobody else podcasting right now in this very moment. This is our Jocko 5:30 a.m. moment.
Yep. That's it. We're done. See you guys next time. Happy New Year.
Peace.
How
was your New Year?
It's good, man. Went out, had dinner with Mandy at downtown and chilled, walked around. They have the buzzard drop here in Perry.
The buzzard.
The buzzard. Drop. Buzzard, like the bird.
Okay. Like the bird, like the scavenging bird.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's some historical context to it that I don't really know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I don't know if it's whatever or not, but yeah. So we walked around there, dressed up. It's interesting. She wanted to dress up and do the whole be nice. So I had the tie and jacket on. Yeah, I was dressed up, and then we're walking around and people are in there, camo and just, whatever regular clothes doing the thing. And that's not, I'm not judging. That's me too. 99% of
it was just an New interesting group is what you're saying.
Yeah, to be the other guy this time. Like you'd see the guy sometimes, you're like, man, that dude is like
overdressed
up, but the ladies are always kind of dressed up on New Year's a lot of times. So
it's a time of nice fun parties. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on New Year's what I actually enjoy. I'm definitely not one that like I started a fire at about 10:30 last night so that I would make it to midnight.
Okay.
Like I was committed to taking care of the fire through midnight because I put enough wood on there to where all right, this is gonna burn, so I'm not gonna just leave it. And so that was how I bustled my way through to midnight.
Yeah, we got home before 11, I think. We didn't even make it to the whole thing or whatever. Just nice. Just went out for a little bit to do something to get out of the house. Have good dinner. This place Orleans here downtown. Shout out to Orleans, they're good.
Okay,
food's good. That's not a paid advertisement.
You just enjoy their food.
That's what we did. It was good. Yeah.
Okay.
A fire would have been cool though too. I enjoy the random fire pit.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten to where I don't really enjoy the fireworks.
Fireworks, are a little overrated, for me in most situations now too, I guess. With the kids though, if
they still enjoy it. Yeah.
That makes the thing better for that. But like fire, like making a fire is fun.
They're just sitting there watching it.
There's some kind of weird thing about it. I don't know. I think it's definitely it has to do with the Fibonacci sequence. There's like a pattern in the fire that's
in nature where you see the I wasn't sure where you were going with the Fibonacci. Yeah. Like where the beauty and the patterns.
There's some sort of soothing whatever.
It attracts us to nutritious food, to good mates, to good like fire, to safety, to like all the different things that like intrigue us as humans. Also kind of are utilitarian
organized that way.
Or they're not utilitarian, or it's somebody trying to play on that part of your brain.
Uh-oh.
A little bit of
where are we going? Tell me where we're going with this.
I mean, okay, let's talk about like I've seen recently where they were talking about like where like you have kids. So when you're walking through the supermarket, where do they put all the like cartoon character-y food? It's all like eye level with the kids. It's all like hip level with adults because it's like they want the reach and grab. And so it's like, well, we know that those colors, those tastes, all those things that are in those foods are playing on that part of our brain we were just talking about. That's like we're attracted to certain patterns and attracted to certain things.
Yeah. Advertising is a real thing like that for sure. And that's definitely a conversation that we've had with the kids, and I'm guilty of falling for it as well. Not saying that either, but definitely like, hey, you want that only because of that ad you just saw.
Only because they told you want it.
Yeah. Only because of the ad. The ad's really cool. Yeah. But let's think about how many of these toys are things that we bought from these ads that when we got them home didn't even do the thing ever.
It didn't even look.
It never did the thing ever, and we bought it because of the hype. As I'm still guilty, of being the dude that does that for himself and, for the kids or whatever.
What's the last thing that happened to you like that where you were like, you got it and you were like, oh, this is not what I thought it was?
Hmm.
Did it happen with one of the kids' toys or like something recently?
I think we've had a decent record here. Well, mm, I don't want to say that because it's not related to me. It makes somebody else feel bad. There has been things, I guess, that were bought and that were not to scale. I guess
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was
Okay.
that
Okay.
was
Okay.
expected. You could say is like,
That, like you
yeah,
opened it up and you were like, "That is not what I thought that was gonna
well,
be."
yeah, like you wanted to get a microscope or something like that to be looking at stuff or something like that, and it's a microscope, but it's not like a microscope.
Bro, I know when I was a kid, they got me on the back of the Boys Life magazine a couple times. Of like, not necessarily to the extreme of like X-ray glasses. Of like, yeah, X-ray glass. Like I never went that far.
You gullible as shit.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I've definitely bought a couple things out of the back of some like skateboard catalogs or something, being
Listen,
like, "This is gonna be great."
I can be convinced. Listen, I'm telling you, just stick with the plan.
I mean, in all honesty, if we're talking about gullibleness, like I was the little kid that for a brief moment I got like tricked by the whole snipe hunting thing.
Mm. What's a brief moment? How many
About
days?
half a camping trip. Where my dad was just like, "Look, dog, let me explain this to
This was
you."
funny the first while, but like now I'm worried about you, son. I need to.
Yeah, that's a distinct defining moment in Isaac's little life career.
That's hilarious. I can't remember specifically, I guess that, but definitely at some point got at least verbally tricked into it somewhere. It never really went out and hunted it.
No, I almost made it to the point of getting tricked and being out there with like some older kids.
See,
But
that's
then
not
I was
good.
hyped to it and then kind of like got in on it and was like, "Oh, it's fun." Because at first I was crushed because I was like, "I want to go snipe hunting. This is gonna be great."
I've heard
And
about this
then
my
when you,
whole life.
yeah, then you find out it's not real. You're like, "What have I trained my entire life for?"
It's like Santa.
Exactly, it's exactly like Santa. But I
I
mean,
can't speak too much about that. There's people still around me right now. They may or may not be listening.
okay,
So
okay.
just in case.
I was wondering.
Yeah, we're not confirming or denying anything yet because the
Okay.
questions have never been specifically asked.
Well, the intelligence is being uh gathered, I guess is where you're at.
Yeah, there's definitely been, things that have come up and I didn't know what we didn't know. But now we're back in the game this year. We realized we still had a little play
Okay.
left in the game. And it's fun. It's fun with them to have that. At first I wasn't the big traditionalist kind of thing with that. Didn't like it a lot. Didn't really, you know, just kind of grew up myself, not like for anything, but just like cynical about the whole thing because it's, the same thing with advertising, same thing we were talking about
Yeah.
before. Is like
Made it feel fake.
as a single young man, that was definitely my take. And then as a young married, guy, like similar with my wife, but not, would still do stuff, but didn't want to buy into it, basically is what my like stance
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll never do that again, ever. But
You're
then
the
now got an elf and shit, you know. I
You're
don't
the
know.
one in the Christmas movie that I've been watching all month because like we got a tradition where we're watching like the worst Christmas movies we can possibly find like each night. The
Mm,
goal is to like pick out the one that looks like the terrible like Hallmark
there's a lot
like
of
that
those.
that's the goal and like there's always that one guy that they give him like his like Santa gives him his like childhood like
God, you got me Castle Grayskull. I can't believe that.
your heart melts and
I've
grows
always
three
wanted this.
sizes. The classic Grinch story. It
It's real.
plays over and
It's
over and
real.
over.
It's real. It's real. And with the kids, man, the genuineness of everything and like the good, you can tell it's like a good hearted thing makes it different,
Yeah.
It's still like you can do both.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
learned,
That That's I haven't experienced it myself, but like I've seen a few ways, and one of the ways that I like a lot is that like when the questions are there, and then like I've started noticing this in my adult life where I've been around more and more people that are like of like the international like view of the world,
Mm,
is that like that's celebrated entirely differently in Norway and in Mexico and in Peru and
mm.
in Brazil and in like every single person that you talk to that has a different cultural bringing up, they're like, oh, that time of year we celebrate this, and you're like, oh,
Get
that's
you a Krampus.
totally yeah. It's like it's totally different. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool, but it all kind of has the same sentiment and starts at the same core, and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Dog, there's one fly in here. I thought all flies like were gone at this time of the year. Like, there's one fly in this office, and it is
He's
like
in there just in a fly
he's on
Armageddon.
my light, and like it's like, bro,
He's
why?
staying warm. He's just staying warm.
It's LED. That shit don't get warm, or does it?
I mean, at the bug
Tricking the
level.
flies. We tricking the flies.
Yeah, maybe he's in there dying because he thinks that it's going to be warm, and he's tricked by the advertisement.
Rest in shit.
Bonus points if you catch it with chopsticks live on the show.
Mm,
Somebody throw something in the super chat to encourage him. You know,
I feel
somewhere
like I would break something in here.
Do we
right
have
now.
super chat?
The way that I'm set up, I don't think so. But y'all can send money if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, what
I
up,
mean,
Cade? Spring Break '98.
I got a Venmo.
Damn.
Oh
the
man,
homie
I didn't even
Cade.
have the comment section open. Whoa,
I just
Merry New Year.
did
What's
that. So I
up?
clicked over on that. Shoot, Spring Break '98. That was a great year.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
I got
I
yeah.
went
Snipe
so-
hunting, Boy Scouts, same.
Yeah. Cade. Cade was
Same.
the Boy Scout, right? I think Cade was like a big time.
Hey, I was an Eagle Scout, sir.
He could have been like that too. I don't know the levels. Oh man, he's listening. Get out of here. You're in the house. The call is coming from inside the house.
Well, it seems like the year, as far as the year, we've had a pretty full year, and now we're like launching off. I'm seeing all kinds of
Yeah, Kay was an Eagle Scout as
news.
well. What's up, son?
Hey, you
I knew
know,
my boy
Eagle
could do it. I beat him in the geography bee though. Where's the newspaper? We found that.
geography.
Yeah, my middle school domination.
Wait, there was a competition in geography,
The geography bee, like a spelling bee, right? And then there was a
right? But
bee.
geography, but like shapes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I
you've
dominated.
been on this shapes thing for a while, is what you're saying.
I've been handling the earth since I was a child. You know, that's what I'm saying. You were absent for the picture, Cage. You weren't absent for the competition, my guy. They wouldn't have put your name in the paper for being absent. Egghead, this ain't about you. It's not your show. We know you won the geography bee, the spelling bee, the math bowl, the legalistics, decathlon.
They let me on the Scholastic Bowl one year.
They gotta have that one guy, right?
Yeah. That's, what do you mean that way? That's our
on
work.
The bench. And he's like, he rides the bench for the academic bowl. He's like Rudy.
Rudy for the
Isaac.
Scholastic Bowl.
They feed you one easy question at the end of the season. We're gonna put Isaac in for this one, guys.
What color is this? Purple. No,
he's colorblind, guys.
It's blue. No.
Dashed again.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, man.
The doing the smart stuff in school like that, man, that just made me not sound smart as I was like doing the smart stuff. I was like, oh man, that really made me not feel smart. But like during like I'm trying to connect it to the earlier conversation and it's not connecting. But
yeah,
the jiu-jitsu world,
it exists.
It does. And there's been a lot of news on developments. There's been a lot of jiu-jitsu. We talked a lot about the jiu-jitsu overdose that I attended. What was that, like 3 weeks ago? There was a lot of good jiu-jitsu out of that. There hadn't been another show since then. That was like the last show of the year, wasn't it? The Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, all that. Did they have? Did IBJJF happen during that time period?
I think that was the next week, right?
That was the next week. Okay, so that happened, which the only news that I've seen out of that so far was that our boy Sebastian from PGF is now
Banned.
banned for life for a year or
As
something.
he
I don't
should
know.
be, right? He's just
It's despicable.
he's not made for the IBJJF. He's not built for it. So I think good for him. They're doing
Hey,
him a favor by not letting him pay them to compete.
yeah, and you know, I've had an interesting perspective recently of like kind of watching it because it's fascinating to me because, dude, rewind 20, so it's 2025. PGF started in 2020 because of the everything that was going on, and everybody was trying to like find times to compete, and we couldn't find any type of competition. And now it almost feels like that we're almost to the point of like every weekend, if not every other weekend, somebody's putting on a tournament. And it's not even a tournament, like it's a tournament that you could win money at. Like when we first started with the Mid South, I mean, paying out somebody $1,200 to win an 8-man bracket was like, oh my God. Like, and now, like, you can find that pretty much every weekend.
Yeah, now these punks expect it. Now it's like, oh, I gotta get at least $1,000 to show up on a local tournament.
But isn't that what we wanted?
No,
Okay.
you gotta earn it, man.
Okay. I feel you. Take,
Like,
take, take the opposing side. Let me hear it.
look, there's nothing. You know me more than anybody else. I'm
Right.
all about getting people paid and athletes paid.
Paying
I've
people, but
I've
earning
paid
it. I hear
paid
you
them more than I've made myself in all those tournaments for sure.
for sure.
Um, but just paying a bunch of white belts to come compete, guys that don't have a bunch of experience, you have no real skin in the game, or even blue belts and stuff. Even I don't know, belts being maybe irrelevant, but lower level people who haven't got a ton of experience, it feels like it's made it a different thing in a way to where again, people who aren't we talked about it, people who aren't professional are trying to ask for professional money and professional things without providing professional results or professional attitudes or whatever it is. But if as a white belt you can get $1,000 on the weekend to go grapple somebody, or win a little tournament, that's cool. I'm not mad about it, but it kind of sours, I think, I don't know, the process in a way for the competitors. I don't know. And maybe you had to get there to a certain point to get there. Um,
It's like Egg says, the working hard so your kids can have a better life, but then they don't go through the struggles that built your character.
I mean, essentially that's it, right? You gotta, I don't know, man. And we've talked about it too. Is like what interns or whatever
Yeah.
it's not the same thing anymore as to where like when I was training a lot back in the day, some of the places you didn't pay your instructor. You did it through trades of maybe cleaning or working, or you know if you made money you'd pay them back out of a percentage of a purse or something like that if you were fighting professionally and stuff. uh so there's a lot of different things that you kind of did to get through the process, and I don't know, like I said, like an apprenticeship or an internship or whatever. Like maybe apprenticeship is a better term, you know what I mean, instead of that, because like you're learning a skill, you're learning an on the job skill, that you can't really get in another way, and I guess that's
Yeah.
similar to the internship, but it's, I don't know, does that make sense?
No, yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, so it's one of those things that I was having this conversation last night about like the the field that we play on now and that we have as a sport is something that other sports have had, other arts or whatever you want to talk about, like without what has been done before, what exists now couldn't exist. And so it's like it's even for us, like where we've come in and paved the way and done the things that we've done with the PGF, a lot of that wouldn't have been possible without everything else that happened before, and without all the different things that played out and put everything in place to where it was. So like to me, I feel like that you couldn't have what this is without that, and it doesn't really matter to me whether or not somebody acknowledges it. I say that, but in the moment, I've had the same feelings that you're talking about towards the like newer generation, where you're like, wait, you realize what it took to even get the point that anybody's offering you any money?
Exactly, exactly.
like,
I don't
like
know.
it,
I guess yeah. It's more of that thing, I guess, than it is anything. Is like, man, we like I paid to go fight somebody.
yeah, actually fight them.
Like multiple times if you wanted to actually budget it out, but I didn't want to, so I didn't.
I
Uh,
don't want the number to
I
be real.
don't. But that's the thing, right? It's hard, and there were times that I turned down fights because I thought that there was, I should have got more money, or I wanted more money or more something for it, and then a couple of times the promoter told me, "Hey, you don't bring
Eyeballs.
enough money to the event. You don't sell enough tickets here where we are fighting at. You're not local to the event or whatever that is, and it's just not worth it to pay you that to come here, And
Yeah.
and so that was the whole thing with selling tickets or whatever. And that's the thing a lot of people don't get about fights, I guess maybe is set how they're set up and not necessarily like fixed or whatever, but set up the way, the pay scale or the
Yeah.
opportunities come.
Why does Conor McGregor get $500,000, and why does the guy that's on the undercard get $20,000?
No, but like why does the guy in again, we'll just say a little small
Just
show somewhere,
promotion. Yeah.
yeah, anywhere or whatever, like
X promotion. Boom.
why is this 3-0 fighter getting an opportunity to make, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000? And then why is his opponent getting $1,000, $1,500?
Yeah.
What's the difference if they're both the same record, whatever it is, and like, not again, there could be reasons, they're bringing in certain people for certain people, but it's because they're popular where they're at. It's because you can sell tickets because you put butts in the seats or whatever it is, and it's just the fact of it. No promoters are really, they don't want to do it to lose money. Most of the promoters from,
Yeah.
especially back before, didn't want to lose anything, so they made sure you carry all the risk as
Yeah.
the fighter and the
Back
athlete or whatever.
back in the day, nobody was operating
So,
at a loss.
so it's just, I don't know. It's just interesting. And again, I'm glad that it is the way it is. I'm glad people are getting paid. I'm glad there's so much money on the table. I'm glad Sebastian's banned from the BJJF because, again, he's got better things on the horizon for himself besides going and doing those tournaments. It's interesting. IBJJF is interesting. I still, it holds a bit of prestige, obviously, from always before, and it's still
Right.
like a big deal thing. But it's lost its luster in the greater community, in the eyes of the world. You know what I mean? And that hasn't been the case forever,
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think the way that it's set up and the times changing and it not keeping up with the times is what's really happened. And the
Yeah.
level of person going to a tournament might be close to the same or the same because people do both. But the lack of payouts, the fact that you have to pay in, the registrations to register, you got to have a registration card to be able to do every. So there's just a lot of things that they forced on people that people didn't want to have to do anymore. Um, and then the rules being restrictive really held
Yeah.
them back during a really important, maybe 5 or 6 year period of jujitsu.
They
They
missed the wave of Nogi.
right. They held back at the time when the opportunity would have been to try to go ahead and, like what they're doing now is
Yeah.
is allowing more things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And again, they have the right to keep it more in line with what they believe the art of jujitsu is supposed to be. The way they have standards for behavior, if that's what they wanted, banning
Yeah.
people for outbursts or doing anything like that. That's all well and good for me too. That's not my,
Which
you know,
let's be
it's important
honest.
to have that.
In every other sport that is a legitimate sport, any sort of an outburst, any sort of a thing is at least met with disciplinary things. There, I mean, soccer, they've got
Some sort of
guards.
reprimand.
Like, yeah, you don't get to just do willy nilly whatever you want in a professional setting. Like, you just
Hmm.
don't. Like, I guess that's what's funny to me about the arguments of the professional sport happening in the combat sport world. You have a whole bunch of people that have literally been never professional by the definition of professional trying to argue about professionionalism, and you're like, "Hey guys,
Yeah,
like,
all it means to them is getting money.
right,
Is
right."
professional
It's
just
like,
means get paid.
no, like
There's a whole, and that's kind of what I was, I guess, saying about that too. Is like there's a lot more that goes into being
right,
a professional fighter. Even say that
yeah,
than having you got paid to fight
right.
somebody. But okay, you made again whatever you got paid, but you fought and got beat up and didn't train. Don't take it serious. You're not a professional fighter. Professional fighters, that's their job. That's a main source of what they do. You know what I mean? And that's another designation, I guess, that could happen. Being semi-professional. I don't know. That's the thing. What is semi-professional versus professional? Because in combat sports, there's not really
There
a
is no
thing.
line. It's
But
amateur or pro, and the
yeah,
amateurs in some places. I mean, if we're talking about like MMA, I mean, like fighting amateur MMA in Mississippi, the difference is the time. They're like,
yeah,
he gets 5 minutes, you get three.
yep, yep.
Like, wait, you made it harder? Wait, what?
It's just a sprint. So, but yeah, so that's all relevant to what happens too. Those things, the rules, where you are, where you come up, and your style versus the other things. There needs to be a level of safety for people going in. But man, my take used to be, and I haven't really thought about it in a while, but that those safety rules like that just really lead people to get hurt more
I agree with
later.
that.
Um, you protect somebody for 3 fights without allowing more of the open rule set. They get comfortable with that, then they go in there and then they have the fight where the guy can do more things, and now you have never really experienced it. It's shocking.
I believe shin pads are encouraging bad kicking technique.
100% or bad
You're
defense.
and bad defense. But well, and also all you're doing is patting a baseball bat. You're making
Yeah.
it to where I don't break the baseball bat when I hit you with it.
Yeah, it hurts. Well, it hurts both of us less.
Hypothetically, it still hurts.
I said less. I didn't say like not at all. But there's such a thing with that. That's true, man. Like kicks and people. I don't know, man. People don't know what they don't know, and you with shin guards on, even people sparring or kicking at each other hard. Like you said, you don't feel everything that you would
Yeah,
feel,
there's
and
there's nothing that prepares you for getting like bare shin kicked in the ribs for the first time, and you're like, oh, that's different.
or just shin to shin.
Or shit. Oh, dude, shin to
Like, or
shin. Like,
somebody shin kicks, your leg, the right on the knee,
you do
you
that
know,
beautiful tie, that little tie. Yeah.
and it hurts,
You both are like, owie.
but it hurts both people, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's that's a level of stuff with Muay Thai, I think, or fighting and stuff that a lot of casuals wouldn't also understand. Is like, yeah, when I'm hitting you, I'm hurting myself too a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely ones that don't hurt, which are great, but
Yeah. That's the
there's
goal.
yeah, you want to definitely transfer as much of that that one way or the other as you can. But yeah, like if I could hurt you more than I hurt myself by enough in enough times, then I'm gonna win this fight.
Yeah. It's just a percentage thing. Is if I can hurt you 2% more than I hurt myself, I win.
And again, like you said, there's definitely a level where you don't want to be you don't want to be trading that closely.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't want to trade that closely with somebody.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
that's how you look. Like, I mean, Adesanya, right? He walked that line with somebody who could keep him at that line, and you saw a couple times. Well, that hit, he got turned off.
yeah, there's somebody for all of us like that too.
Yeah,
Um, whatever the game is, fighting, and that's the thing too. It's just a lot. Fighting's a lot, and being a professional. in jujitsu is a new thing, and people don't know what it means yet. And it's still the same way in MMA, I think, in fighting too, in lots of ways. But it's much, much worse in jujitsu, I think, right now than it is or was for MMA stuff at the point that I was still really heavily involved in it. Um,
I think for the first time we have so many eyeballs that are paying attention because before the wave of UFC was just the UFC and like MMA and like people kind of saw that trajectory, but it was still like we talked about a couple weeks ago of the fact that like it's prize fighting. Well, this has been the first time that it's kind of come out, and the combat sports has kind of a platform with this jujitsu and the way these leagues are coming out and stuff for it to be a legitimate like professional sport where you're a professional athlete that Monday through Friday, this is my job and this is what I do. Cause like that's such a far-fetched idea for too many people to be a fighter. Cause there's only so many fighters in the world, you know what I'm saying, that are going to be professional fighters. Cause like you said, to every day 365 wake up and be a fighter, that's a short life for a lot of people. Well, jujitsu now, that's a little different, especially if we're smart about it and like we're learning where you can play games where it's not necessarily so do or die, where you're going to get knocked out or that you compete every weekend. Like that's where you're like, oh, okay, well, this could be professional. So how do we get it out of the trajectory of prize fighting?
we need a league.
Yeah.
We need a league.
The league. Yeah.
You need a league. You need something where there's organized athletes, organized like something, and there's agreements and rights and collective bargaining and different things like that, to where it's not just you if you want an opportunity, you do what I say.
Yeah.
And you accept, you get what you get, and you don't pitch a fit, and that's it. So we need something to where there's a way for people to have guarantees. There needs to be probably pensions. There needs, but that's again, everybody can't have that. You can't just you did a couple of jiu-jitsu matches on a show. That's not what we're saying. But then you can't have
the 1949 Super Bowl winners didn't have brand new Buicks to go drive home.
Right. Yeah. It's like it is what it is in the way that things are. But definitely you have to, if there's the league, then the league with the bargain, they can have things set up that way to where people are taken care of. There's rules about, maybe the use or the whatever of your likeness, and you get rights for, I don't know, insurance purposes and different things like that. And we're looking at that kind of stuff as a whole too, because I'm not super familiar, but I believe that most major professional sports teams have doctors and physical therapists and things that are trainers attached to their programs that the athletes get to use. And
well, and a lot of that came from unionizing, which me personally, not necessarily somebody who like came up and was around like promoting and like wanting unions, but it's also like understanding history and understanding business and understanding where things are. It's like, well, unions had a place at some time, because at some point somebody had to look at the factories and be like, hey, you got to give them time off. Hey, you should probably pay them a little better. And so it's like all that is the people or the athletes or whoever, like whatever league or business, or like coming together and being like, these are our collective things that we need to operate as human beings, to be able to do what we're doing and to exist. How about meeting us somewhere in the middle? And I don't think you've seen that conversation, because everybody's got to get organized enough. Everybody's got to talk enough. And then you get into the realm that everybody's fighters. And so it's like, these are guys that fight each other. If we're talking about like early combat sports years, especially, because it was just fighters. So how do you get those guys to agree?
They're all on different teams too, and it's not in the same way that sports are in other aspects. It's like these guys are from different blood feuds.
I was fixing to use that word, like blood feuds,
and like they're never gonna agree to give something to somebody else, or just gonna make it hard to come together sometimes. So like it's just not time, I guess, yet.
But see, that happens in everything. That happens in all business. It's just
No, no,
about,
no. That we just got
you
to
know,
get the right people in charge
yeah, yeah.
to take over the power spots, whatever that is,
The
and
ones that
then
can unite are going to be the ones that figure it out. I
no,
mean,
that's
even
yes, yeah, that's
even your most evil people in history, their biggest skill was they could unite people together.
you gotta, you gotta, you gotta come together, right? Everybody's got to stop doing the thing if we need something for it, or everybody's got to agree to go do the thing if that's what we agreed on, and if you're the bigger purse winner, you got to give up something for everybody
Yeah.
else to share it down appropriately for that idea. And that's the hard part is a lot of people don't want to do that. They this is their opportunity. This is my shot. This is whatever for me and mine and my future, my kids, my family,
Here's the people that
my.
I've made agreements with. These are the
Yep,
people that
this is the
I'm taking care
I
of.
did this. Yep, I'm not
Yep.
doing that for y'all. I'm doing this for me and mine. Um, and I don't know without again without there being some sort of collective where we're all working towards the same end goals that it
Is
can
there
happen.
is there anybody that's capable of that in the community right now?
I
Because I've
think
seen
Brandon
that have
I think
had the
Brandon's
opportunity.
close.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
of
Brandon's
anybody,
close.
Brandon's close.
I
Yeah.
think Brandon's very close. I've seen him navigate situations with people and myself even where things are, a little heated or tense or whatever, and navigate his way through it and help try to find the best common ground to move to the next thing. I believe that's I don't know, again, not trying to speak about anything except for this. These are all my thoughts. So I'm not expressing anybody else's thoughts. I just want to say that up front. Um, like I think that's one of the things with this all with the PGF is that it could grow into the league. It could grow into the thing that has the stuff with pensions and insurances and assurances and all these things for athletes with training and recuperation and health minded stuff like that involved with officials that are official and people who are handling things behind the scenes that you never really know about who they are because they're not trying to be that they're trying to be the what's the I don't know what the word is, but they're the doers. They're the people behind the scenes that make shit get done, and they're not trying to be seen. Once that's all in place, I think that's what's happening in my mind.
Yeah, I agree.
If I have anything to do with it, that's where we're heading.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's the I think not just because they're the homies and not just because this has been what we've been a part of, but out of all the ones that I see, everybody when they get to a certain level starts grasping, like you said, and starts grabbing for the me and the I and the look what I did and the look at how I'm the savior or how this or
it's
that.
hard.
And yeah, it's hard not to because it's easy. It's easy to, especially when you figure out how easy it is to control the narrative and how easy it is
Mhm.
to change things and how easy it is to start a conversation. And like, and I say easy, like people that don't necessarily have access to certain levels of things will go, oh, it's like, yeah, it takes hard work, but at some point when you get to a certain level of influence, it's pretty easy to reach out there and put your finger on the scales and just change whatever you want.
Something.
And most people I've seen when they give that opportunity, they pull the lever towards themselves.
Yeah. I mean, that's human nature, I feel like. And it's again, that's just part of the problem with stuff. And if we want to be civilized and have things, we gotta work together. We can't just, you
Yeah.
know, do it for ourselves that way. Um so yeah, I think it's coming, man. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot more cross training. There's a lot more openness about stuff. There's not really like the secretive situations that of the past. There's the internet's kind of
Don't
pulled
show
that
this move.
right. It's like our secret techniques or whatever. That's all gone. It doesn't exist. So there's no reason to be that way now. You know,
Right.
um, personal things between people. You know, shouldn't necessarily roll down to the students or the other things. Like
Yeah.
you and I don't have to get along and agree with everything, but your people and my people don't have to hate each other just because you and I don't get along.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
situations. Those kind of things are what we're needing to have, and more open conversations with people who are like, listen, we ain't got to be like homies, but we can be cool. We can be cool to
Yeah.
each other. We can do whatever. But there's so much of this where it's still like a lot of machismo and
Yeah.
like, posturing and, trying to, bluff each other around and
Yeah.
posture to their constituents.
All because of differences of opinions on how somebody does a move.
Probably, yeah, or even less than that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
you
that's
know,
what I mean. Is that like I feel like that I agree with you because it makes it to where it makes it hard as a community to really like for us to like self police ourselves because if you have all these like little beefs and like little things that are just like I disagree with how he does the Kimura or whatever, like as
mhm,
petty as it could be, it doesn't allow us to give like legit like nah stay away from that person type of thing. Where we know like oh if you don't if you're not down with them like nobody should be like type of thing
mhm.
like it waters down the meaning that it means to kind of keep the community like I don't know what to say like clear or clean or
Well, there's things like that though too. Now, if we just have differences of opinion on techniques or business practices and things that are like that, that's one thing. But now, if you're like a scumbag or you've
yeah
done things that are like bad or really against the nature of the society or civilization, the
those
group
are the
that,
ones that
yeah,
we need to have out
I
there
have
on
to
the
call
yeah
out
right
that, and that's been a problem for myself a few times. Um, and I had to learn, it's not my responsibility to police the entire community
but keep your
either.
community and the piece that you're
Just
vouching for
exactly.
safe yeah
That's right. That's right. I can only account for that stuff. I can't account for everybody else. And even though I am in jujitsu and a big part, of it or whatever, I'm not responsible for it as a whole to everybody and what they think about it. And, if anybody should be a
mm.
rank of a sort or not, or anything that they do. Again, technique. If I think that somebody's technique is right or wrong, anything like that is not my responsibility to correct that,
To enforce it and
except
yeah
for within my own walls.
right
That's it. And even there's only a certain amount of it that I really should worry about.
that it's okay for them to be wrong
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, and that's the thing. There's certain things is like you could be wrong about it, and that's okay. But if you're doing something that's dangerous or malicious or purposefully trying to hurt
or
the
deceitful or
spirit of the
yeah
thing, yeah,
yeah
or
yeah
somebody, you're
yeah
manipulative in a way or whatever, then that's the kind of stuff that's got to go. But like a lot of stuff is people just didn't know any better,
mm.
and they needed to have somebody correct them, but we just green light them and beat them up and don't ever explain what happened. And so then that's what they just do too later on. So just kind of that's another little side topic of it all, but that's part of it too. It's just like rather than educate your brother, you just will shun him or talk shit about him to somebody else rather than just go tell him something he may not know,
yeah
or
they're just
you,
operating blindly
or maybe they told you and you don't want to listen. And so that's another thing too. So that there's always both sides to the coin with that kind of stuff. It's like you could be either one of these guys, and that's a problem.
yeah
Because I've been both before. Uh,
and that's real well and I think that a lot of people don't realize that they've been both and they think
yeah,
that they're one or the other and that they don't know how to be both and it's like no
right.
like we've all been both
Literally, sometimes you're both within the same time, and you
you're
if you
right and
act
wrong at the same moment
with some things. That's what I'm saying. Is like you feeling pretty righteous about something, and so you transfer that over to another situation, and you feel
yeah
pretty righteous about that until the information becomes more clear, and you're like, ooh, that was some rollover from the other thing, and ooh, I was way wrong, you know. And then what do you
yeah
do at that point? It's you can't re put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's already done. So that's just again, that's jujitsu, baby. You let them get too far.
if you ain't bumping you ain't fighting
Yeah, and if somebody's taking your back, don't just let them stay there.
yeah you should probably
Move,
do something about that and move
move.
create movement
We saw that
It,
video. You sent me that video of the dude that was like doing the headstand or handstand kind of
yeah,
thing
he
on
was
the
doing a
guy's back
headstand
and
on the
turtle.
guy's back. Yeah, while he was turtled up.
That's fake, y'all.
Yeah,
It's
that's
real. You saw it. It worked. It happened. But that's not real. Like the only
yeah.
reason that happened is because the other dude just stayed there.
That's been an interesting conversation like you and I've had of talking about the fact that like there is a lot of in the jujitsu just getting off on a side tangent here that is we're agreeing to an extent of how controlled this is going to be. And I think that there are times, I think there's a lot of times in the jujitsu room that guys and girls, but like everybody kind of like sometimes takes advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize it's like, hey man, we're agreeing to be cool. Like,
Yeah.
we're agreeing to do certain things. And I feel like that there's both ends of that. It's like I think that sometimes the higher belt sometimes will neglect it, like because they won't pay as close of attention, and then that's where sometimes the spazzy blue belt gets deemed the spazzy blue belt because he's panicking and you've got him in a bad position and he thinks that he's made the agreement to fight for his life. You're just kind of chilling eating bonbons, sitting on wherever, and then that person gets deemed and goes, oh, they're spazzy. And it's like, well, yes, maybe they're spazzy, but maybe if your jiu-jitsu was a little more fundamental, they probably wouldn't have kicked you in the face.
Because, yeah, that's true. It's actually true. If you can control them, they don't hurt you as much.
Turns out.
And then if you're playing, you get hurt more. I've been hurt more times being chill and lax than I have in the middle of the worst fights
Like
and
just slugging it out.
moment. Yeah, I've been hurt
I
more
agree with that.
letting somebody work than I have the other way.
I agree with that 100%.
And that's part of that thing you're saying too. And then that's where you get into it's boring, and no. I get it. It is boring at times or whatever. But if I'm rolling with this dude and we're buddies. Like he's a good friend of mine. He comes to my other classes too, whatever, da da da. He wrestled when, he was younger and stuff. I get his back and I'm kind of posturing up, looking around the room or whatever, and he's in turtle and he front rolls or whatever, and I bang my forehead on the mat. That's my fault. That was my fault when that happened. And I was like, oh, I can't do that anymore. And I've never done that again.
Never just been relaxed
or just not in that position for sure, where I'm on your
especially
back
that
and turtle.
position. Yeah.
And just kind of up looking around to where if they roll over, I'm just going to face plant
Yeah.
because he didn't know that was going to happen. I'm 100% sure because he was very concerned when it happened, but it happened. And he was just trying to roll over to his side to get me off his back because you don't want to be flattened out right there with me
on top.
So that's
what's the best excuse? Give up side control.
Well, and that's the thing is like, what could he do then in that moment? It's like he did what he had to do. And if I was doing the right job, I wouldn't have hit my head.
Yeah.
I could have been mad that he did that because it wasn't chill, but he wasn't, he didn't know that that's what I was doing. He wasn't thinking that way.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing. He was trying to get me.
Yeah.
I knew I had him because I was just better and bigger, And so for him, like just what you just said, he's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not letting him do this to me again. And I wasn't going to do anything to him, but laugh. And he said, not today. Yeah. Laughing those, crying the same pants you laughing in, boy.
That seems like a very specific saying.
I've heard it before, I think, or something.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up. I mean, I did.
Maybe. You just gotta go on the fly. But the yeah, and
you're responsible for your own safety.
Well, and I think that can elevate all the way up to the highest of competitor too. I mean, how many guys do you see that are competing? And we talked about this with how the PGF goes and how even there's so much frequency that you could compete in ADCC Opens now that like sitting there and just eating a pop and not like being with it and not like it's a sport. And back onto the topic of like where we're becoming a professional sport and being professional, like the professional thing is you want to do it as long as you possibly can. And so you should always be like in that like mindset of being in a place that's usable and
How many people in major sports have you seen lose their job because they got hurt?
a lot.
You can't be hurt.
Yeah. Injuries are enemy number one at this point as a professional
And as
athlete.
soon as that happens, you're diminished. And as soon as it happens more than once, now you're a problem because you're taking up roster space, you're taking up cap space, money space, and somebody else's turn. Basically, if they can come out there and overperform you and be healthy, they're better.
Literally the next play.
That's it. That's it. It's business now, right? You're professional. It's business. There's no feelings involved. Chill out.
Yep.
Or not.
Yep.
We can either be all loving each other and have this whole club where we love each other and it's all that, or it's business. And we can
Yeah.
still love each other within those bounds. But you can't be hurt or you're gonna have a really short career, in which case then you're not gonna be part of the club because you didn't stay.
Which that's crazy to me. I hadn't even really thought about this until just this very moment. Is that coming up like playing football and going and playing college football, like your worst fear was a knee injury. Like your
Yeah.
worst fear, like that was career ending. It's over. And now I'm hanging around dudes that are like on their third, fourth, fifth knee surgery, and you're like, wait, maybe we should do something as a community to maybe rectify this.
Well, and then there's a thing where that's happening though in the NFL, or that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. But there's
Yeah.
people that's like that. But there again, you're being compensated for it. You're being paid for what you're
At a
doing,
different
and
level. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing too. You're making that agreement, but again, are you able to stay at the level you're at every time after those
Every
surgeries or
time.
not?
Yeah.
And then where is the next money coming from after the third surgery? Because when's that contract out? That's
And at
that's
that
the
point,
deal.
when do you go become a commentator? Where's the
Did you
structure to
spend the
become?
time to
Yeah,
stay articulate
yeah,
and
yeah.
learn the game enough? And did you do anything else to not do that? Because now it's time to go work at Home Depot. And there's
Go
nothing
sell
wrong with that.
cars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with those jobs. I'm just saying, like, even we all don't get to stay. I had
yeah.
to find something else to do. Thankfully, I'm still in the game doing teaching and having my own school and stuff like that to a degree. But like, yeah, that was, dude, that was, I can't tell you the nights I sat up and cried and like was super anxious and worried about that time where I didn't know what I was going to do. Because if I wasn't going to fight or if I wasn't doing it at that level, doing it as a hobby would probably not have worked out as well for me. And
Hurt
especially
your.
because I was going to have to work full time
Yeah,
and take
it's
care of
not
the
the same.
family and off time. It's like just would have been that dude. Um, so that's why I had to do what I did to stay in the game personally. Just love it too much, for right or wrong. But again, being healthy, man, life would be so much better if I would have took care of myself a little bit better earlier and not
In the
taking,
process,
yeah, not taking some of the damage I took intentionally, like letting things go in a
or
way.
people even people letting you like believe that you had
No,
to
yeah,
some
for
extent.
sure.
This is something you have to give up because it like this is what it costs to be in the game.
Mm. Well, and there's a lot of that too, where there's younger guys that are around that are into the sport of it, MMA and doing stuff, and they're taking these fights, and they have injuries, and I'm like, man, you should chill. You should chill. You should get that fixed. You should get that looked at. You should take enough time to get it seen or whatever. Um, but they're in. Oh, I got a fight coming up, but why?
Yeah,
Why? You're hurt. You're limited. Well, you want to
yeah,
be a professional fighter. You want to have a career, but you're not going to fighting hurt. Well,
yeah.
everybody fights hurt. Yeah, to a degree. But if you're constantly hurt, you're under training, you're going to underperform, you're creating bad gait patterns, you're making bad motor habits for your rest of your body. And that's going to go for the rest of your life that way until you figure out how to correct it. And people think you're calling them soft, or they think that people are going to say they're soft. And the people will probably, but they're stupid. Uh, those people are. If
Yeah.
you need to not take a fight or to pull out or to take some time to get yourself seen about and healed. Um,
But
You
where
won't
does
know.
that line, like, where does that line lie with the fact that if you do sit down for too long, it is one of those sports that it moves fast. You can blink, and in 6 months, the whole
There are no
rankings are
guarantees.
different.
There
Yeah,
are no
okay.
guarantees. That's there
That's
in
the right
any
answer.
nothing you choose is guaranteed. You could do any of it. You could do it all right, the best of your ability, and still
And
not
still
make
come
it.
up. Yeah.
It just is what it is. And like that's the thing. You've already made choices now that you can't take back. And so whatever that is, man, when you were 10 and you jumped out of that tire swing and you had to get a plate in your ankle, sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
Everything else is great. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like that just is what it is. Or you got your arm broken or whatever recently, and now you're out and you missed the opportunity, to do whatever. Yeah, dude. There was a time, and I've talked about it a little bit, but when I was fighting, I decided, okay, cool, I'm gonna hire a manager, and like this is gonna give me fights or whatever to give me more opportunities and stuff. And I was like, yeah, cool. Well, I sat on the shelf for a long time because the dude wasn't able to get fights or negotiate whatever the right way, and I was having to kind of turn down local opportunities because there wasn't enough money to pay us
To pay
both
the
for that
manager.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, there's only like one period of time here once we started working together. I was like where I need to not have any offers, or I'm just gonna have to say no to everything, basically. And that was when we were getting married. We knew our wedding date or whatever, and the dude offered me a fight like the week before, and so I fired him shortly thereafter and took back over doing it myself or whatever. So it's like he
Yeah.
said, but this is the and it was a good paycheck. It was. It would have paid me more than I had been offered in a long time to fight. And it was a guy I thought I could beat, who was well known, who had good opportunities. Um, so it was a great opportunity, except for the fact that I made an agreement that I wasn't going to fight within a certain, because I got cut if the wind blew hard, and it'd be fucking stitches and stuff everywhere. And I fought hard too, so I would be busted up for weeks sometimes, and that's,
Yeah.
people don't know that too. It follows you home,
Yeah.
and so I'd agreed not to do anything, and so that's the only thing. Like he's like, "Oh, this is the opportunity. This is your." It's like, but it's not though,
Yeah.
because I literally said anything but that. It's like this. So there are opportunities that are for you that are not for you. They're
Yeah.
offered to you that are not for you. Um,
Well, it's also like in that same vein, and not to cut you off, but like
why you cut me off?
I'll fight you. I'll probably lose, but I see how quickly you came off of it. I was gonna go ahead and set the record straight for the people.
They know.
But I haven't watched it yet, and maybe for our next conversation between now and then, I'll watch it. Have you seen the thing about Aaron Rodgers?
The Netflix part or
Yeah, yeah,
some of it.
okay, I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen some of, like, what they're talking about, and I remember the story about, like, his brother going to, like, just to get famous, going on The Bachelorette, and then, like, they
Mm,
doing all these things, and then painting him out to be a bad guy, and, like, you kinda, like, hear Aaron's side of the story, and I'm interested to watch the documentary, but it's to some extent, though, when you talk to the super successful, and when I'm talking about super successful, I'm talking about the Peyton Mannings,
mm,
the GSPs, the people like that are like the pinnacle of a certain point. They did miss everything.
mhm,
They
mhm,
did. Their family does hate them.
mhm.
They're just like, like sometimes it's like, well, what do you want?
Yep, that question was posed to me also at a time when I was retiring. That was kind of the question that was really what made it for me at retirement. You know, was what do you want? What do you really want? You say you want to do this, you say you want to do that, but I was choosing to stay with my family. I was choosing to go do this on the weekends. I was choosing to be somewhere else doing something else besides going to train and fight or do recovery or wanting to go cross train and do all these things again. And why? Because I wanted to be a good father. I wanted to be a good husband and stuff. That was what was most important to me. And when I made that decision, that was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was easy to know what the choice was at that point when it was posed that way. Is because, like, to be a world champion, what are they doing?
Everything.
you're not doing that. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, no, no, no. It's like, no, no, like this isn't a personal attack on you. You're choosing something else, and that's not bad. I think you're choosing the right thing too, but this is the choice you're making. You need to be aware of that. And it's like, damn, it's true. It's true. And I didn't mean to be halfway, but that was a lot of the conflict that was going on with everything was that I was caught between both, and I still am in a lot of ways, but I try to do better um, with it always. But that was definitely a thing. Is like, what do you really want? And then, are you really willing to do the things that it takes to do that? Otherwise, you're not even you're just wasting time about it unless you're okay just being whatever that is. Like halfway, which is okay as a hobbyist. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with enjoying something and doing it for the fun of it and not needing to be professional and not needing to be the number one top person in that field. There's lots of things that are really fun to do that you don't have to do that with. It is probably better for your life to be that way some.
To
Um,
many extent, yeah.
right. Uh, and so that's just it is what it is. I just lived in the extremes, and then I realized you couldn't live in both of those extremes and be honest. So that was it for me there.
Mm.
Um, but I think that happens with a lot of people. They're not understanding the agreements they make when they say these things they say. And I guess that goes into the professionalism, getting paid part of it that I was talking about in a way too. Like by the time I started getting paid anything, man, I'd already had hundreds of stitches and
Yeah.
stuff in my face and
Yeah.
hours in the ring and
Yeah.
and months and years in the gym. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy that you can't quantify it, and none of that would have happened without the other stuff before. Like you said, I would have never made it to where I did if I didn't do all the stuff I did before. And I did miss a lot of stuff, and I do regret stuff sort of now. Uh, Especially sometimes like now around the holidays, you go back home or go back home and I'm around certain people and it's like, dang man, I really missed, this person grow up and these people's, were close to me and they have kids that are, I don't even know their kids, they're grown, all these things that, missed this holiday, that holiday, these people are dead, that person's dead. But I chose what I chose because I had to, to be who I needed to be for myself. And it was sad. And it does, it's like, man, you say regret, but not like that. But it's just like, man, I could have chose to stay and do all that stuff, but I would not be who I am. And
You wouldn't be in the position that you're in by
not even
any.
close. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't been the type of influence to them that I could have been anyway or wanted to
Right.
be anyway,
Right.
because I wouldn't have been the person that would have been able to influence them appropriately.
Yeah.
So it's really it's just that it's always that kind of thing like that. But by making those choices, I am who I am now. We're here now. My kids can walk into the school and not be prejudged by some other past thing that they have nothing to, again, similar to the students thing that we talked
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
before,
like
is like
going back
it's not their
time in
beef.
the
They don't
family.
have a beef that's not theirs.
Yeah.
um that's what was important, and that's what I remember, and that's why I did what I did. That's why I do what I do, and lots of things that
Yeah.
I do. So yeah, just accept what it is.
You got any New Year's resolutions?
Man, I gotta get in shape. I gotta get in shape.
Okay.
I gotta get like consistently in shape. Like I'm okay, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say a decent maintenance phase, but a long maintenance phase.
Okay.
Uh,
I feel you. I feel you.
like I can do. That's what I say is like I'm in shape. I can
You're
do
still
stuff.
able to
But
move
it's just like
around. You're able to do your jujitsu and all
I'm just
that type
not
of stuff.
pushing
But
it though,
yeah,
And that says like I gotta get back to that. I gotta get back to taking care of myself that way.
where you feel you're lacking the most? Is it the kitchen? Is it the
I think it's that for sure. Obviously, that's everything.
okay?
But I think a
Yeah,
lot of that is, and I gotta get this is what I'm doing, New Year's resolution or whatever we're calling it. Like
action.
thing is get with New Hope Regeneration, gonna get the stem cells
Okay,
and
okay,
see what that does for my body.
and then tie that in with a little bit of a diet.
Once that feels,
Working out. Yeah.
that's I think once I feel better,
Okay.
generally better, easier too, then that makes usually I can get the ball rolling, with one thing or the other here. But lately,
I'm gonna
even
commit to it because I'm doing this other thing too. Type of.
but even with the
I know those
diet
mind tricks.
being better, my body still hurt like crazy,
I feel that.
and it didn't allow for me to do what I would want to do with the diet. So then I feel like I'm just kind of struggling to eat all this stuff for just to not even be able to really enjoy the benefits of it as much as I would want to. So I don't do it as well, you know. But again, part of that's probably the fighter thing from being in the camps and needing to be on a routine and a regimen for
On or off.
times and yeah,
Yeah.
cutting
Yeah.
or not necessarily cutting weight, but like maintaining certain allowances or not. And I haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, several years at this point. And that's kind of what I was saying is like I've been in that phase. Like I've done jujitsu competitions and I've went hard back and forth and da 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 da. But during my career, when I was fighting, more of the stay ready so you don't have to get ready
Yeah.
because it's very dangerous. Um, but with jujitsu, I didn't really have that, so I've gotten kind of lax. I felt like,
Yeah.
especially after PGF season 2. I guess
I
I would
came
say
I,
that.
I came across that picture the other day of you. Right then, I need to send it to you of
What?
like right when you were making weight for PGF2.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily need to be back down to
Back to that
225.
small, but yeah. But
Um,
like,
but I'd like to get back, maybe 35 or 40, something like that,
yeah.
probably,
Okay.
and be good to go. Um, yeah, so that's my goal is just to be a little healthier, be a little happier. I'm already happier, but like they go together. I feel like healthy and happy go together, and
I
then
feel like that's true.
I think everything's pointing in the right direction with the schools and with the PGF and with other things going on. I've gotten better at compartmentalizing things and like direction. I still don't do my best at communication in that time. So that's another New Year's resolution is work on communicating better, even if it's not like good stuff.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. That's super difficult when you're learning how to communicate.
Well, because usually it's like very blunt and everything like that, and just take it how you get it, or
Can feel aggressive.
yeah, and I don't want to just or people
Yeah.
feel like I'm being aggressive, and I don't
Yeah.
mean to be because I'm just
Yeah.
passionate, and I get where that comes from because sometimes I wait too long to talk about something, and then I'm excited about it, right? And then it feels how it feels,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I feel
just
you.
lots of shit like that. What
Okay.
about you? Smother some more people.
Yeah, maybe a few more smothers. I want to compete more this year. I didn't get to compete as much as I kind of wanted last year. My knee recovery went a lot slower than I thought it would.
Mm.
But now I feel like healthy. I like the weight that I'm at. I got so small for such a long time with MMA that like I was like I gotta get smaller. I gotta get smaller. That like now that I have a little bit of like booty behind me, it's nice to be able to like
I try to tell
move
you.
around.
I try
Yeah,
to tell you that. I was like,
like not
everybody,
just get thrown around by the big guys.
and you just be hungry too the whole time.
That too.
You just like I'm just hungry and I don't feel good, but I got to be small so I can be stronger. And it's like that don't make sense, man. This just ain't adding up. Y'all all are saying the same thing, but nobody's actually doing it.
Right, but I mean, it is an interesting dynamic. But like I like kind of where I'm at, and so I want to compete some more. I want to do some absolutes. Those have been fun and doing that.
Oh, I'm
Um,
competing February 1st.
oh yeah, you're competing,
February
and
1st, I think is
then
what it is. Wait, yeah, in Valdosta.
in Valdosta.
6 minutes. It's 6 minutes. 80cc trials kind of rules against a
Nice.
dude,
Okay.
really tough black belt from down in South Georgia who had been looking for a match, and I was just on my phone. I said, I'll take a match with one of those guys. And he was like, okay. He said yes. And I was like, damn it. Okay. I'm in. He's tough. So,
All right.
what
Well,
gets me excited?
we'll be tuned in.
Yeah.
Uh,
Warmageddon, I think is what it's called.
oh wow. Okay.
Court Shaw is his name. He's affiliated with Josh Leduc, the Sapateria
Okay. Okay.
guy.
Okay.
I don't know the exact part of it, but I think that's who he's under. But we're doing it in Valdosta. It'd be fun, man. You know me. I like helping these
Yeah,
shows part of the
when I
thing.
say compete, like I don't even really necessarily care what I'm on. I do want to do some like sub only stuff. I'm kind of tired of like playing games with rules and like referees being like, yeah, like
I
you
just
were
like being part of
down.
the show.
I feel you. I feel you. But I'm
Christos
still
asked
at the
me to
point
do
I
a
want to
match
play some
in
games.
Decatur the 11th. I don't know. We haven't
You
figured
should.
it. I might, man.
You
I
should.
might. That's kind of quick.
January 11th, PGF qualifier. Tune in,
Decatur.
or if you're 155 pounds, show up to Decatur, Alabama, and fight like 40,000 people to get your earn your spot.
Yeah.
Last time I looked, there was like 37 people or 36.
If you want to
people.
see me grapple, let me know.
We'll post a story.
We need.
later.
I don't know what number I need, but I need a number of yeses before I'll say yeah.
So you need a
Christos,
number of yeses. The
I need a
people need to
number.
go
The
to
people.
your
The
Instagram
people gotta
story
want to see me, or I don't want to go.
and tell
You
them
want me on the PGF qualifier indicator?
yes.
You gotta let me know. And if I don't know, then I won't do it. Josh
Cut
Neighbor.
cut a promo for me. Oh,
Oh
wait,
wait.
hold on.
Wait, about what? I just did.
I was trying to put you as the only person,
You doing it
but
wrong.
it didn't work.
Listen, just let me know. Let me know if y'all want me on there. The Enigma. Oh wait, that's wide view.
Yeah, that's
I ain't
all
supposed
you.
to- Man, that threw me off. Yeah, if you guys want me on the Decatur qualifier, PGF qualifier, January 11th, let me know. Christos hit me up and said, "Hey, it'd be fun to have you on there." I think it will be fun, but I don't want to do it if y'all don't want to do it. So hit your boy up. Let me know. Send me a message. Tell me yes. I want to see you at the PGF qualifier, putting hands on somebody, and I'll do it. I'm okay.
Y'all do it.
Is that good?
That was great.
I got to
feel
work
like
on my
that was great.
background now. When that goes wide view, I didn't really realize it shows all that stuff, man. I've been trying to get this thing tidied up.
It looked super professional. Look, you're well lit. You're all the.
I got to,
all your
yeah,
stuff.
that's it. I got
We
to
got to
do.
get some backlighting. That's
That's
the next thing.
I don't
we gotta get some
understand that
backlights.
stuff well enough.
We got to layer you a little bit.
How do you backlight something? Where do you put the light underneath stuff or on top of it or what?
I mean, like, so like those shelves back there, like that middle shelf, if there was a
Uh-huh.
light like underneath it, it would bring it out and give you some depth to where we could see what was on the shelves and we could see like your little trinkets and like maybe put a light below you in the corner pointing up to where like that back wall is lit. Yeah, to where now those posters have light on them and we can see what those posters are. You know, just adding layers and depth to the show, my friend.
I'm trying. I've been doing that. I've been
adding some layers to the show. I've been working on my game, trying to step it up for you
How
guys
long
here.
have you been waiting to use that?
Hours.
All right. Well, that's been the show.
Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.